What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets React, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction. Super excited about this video. If you're new to us
and we're new to you,
make sure you scroll down,
hit that subscribe button,
and turn on the post notification bell
because we're on the road to 50K.
And we cannot get there without you guys, all right? Join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
Let's get it.
Rugby combines the less placid features of American football and English soccer. You can run, pass, or kick the ball, while at the same time protecting yourself from the combined assault of the enemy.
Rugby is a fast, violent, and chaotic sport with many rules, but one basic premise: get the ball to your opponent's end of the field. The modern form of the game was invented at a school in Rugby, England, around 1820. At the time, England had a world-spanning empire, and it introduced rugby to its colonies, like South Africa and Australia in 1860, then New Zealand in the 1870s, where it became especially popular.
When rugby came to New Zealand, it came from origins in the UK, where it was very much related to class structure. The elite schools played rugby in the UK.
Tony Johnson is a rugby expert, author, and TV broadcaster in New Zealand.
Welcome back, and Caleb Clark!
I want to do that so bad.
I was just about to say that. You want to do that so bad, bro. And I'm looking at him going hard over the screen. Bro, he's screaming on that thing.
That's on my bucket list.
You gonna turn up?
Turn
man,
up.
that would be a 5 bucket list. We gotta be in somebody's press box.
Yes.
And let's see go crazy.
Don't let them fall and trip or something, baby.
Everybody gonna be listening to you the whole time.
It really was the game for everyone. Didn't matter where you came from, what school you went to, you had to go at this game.
That included New Zealand's indigenous population, the Maori. They formed rugby teams almost immediately, and as early as the 1880s, a mostly Maori rugby team called the Natives played matches in other countries.
It was indeed a Maori person, Tom Ellison, who first came up with the idea of New Zealand wearing this black jersey.
Those jerseys are how New Zealand's national team came to be known as the All Blacks.
There it
in
is.
1905, they set off across the ocean to play matches, which, when played between countries, are called tests.
So did.
The All Blacks surprised everyone by playing a faster, more expansive, and far more organized style of rugby than had ever been seen before. They played 35 tests, and they only lost once. A success that not only changed rugby, but also how the world saw New Zealand.
New Zealand was starting to search for its own identity. This was the start of it. This was New Zealand. You know, not so much a British subject anymore, but our own people.
After the tour, the All Blacks embodied that new national identity by fusing rugby with New Zealand culture, most famously by performing a Maori war dance called the haka before every test.
I think initially,
Hold up. Did New Zealand start this? Like during the haka before, like
Before the game
are
started.
they the trendsetters?
Are they the trendsetters? Hey, they showing it.
Okay.
But you gotta also hear this though. They jumped on it immediately. Whenever the sport came out, they said we getting on it, and they had W's across the board.
Just lost one.
So them ball made noise. Yeah,
show
they
y'all
made
who
sure
we are.
everybody feared them when they came out.
Okay, now y'all know we love history. So I could see this being something that bridged the gap amongst their cultures there, because it wasn't just the Maori players on there, you know, and we also see now that everybody on the team is doing the haka. So I love that could, you know, be lessons and bridging the gap
Yeah.
between the peoples.
And
I
is it
love
also
that.
going into the audience too? Like, are the people in the stadiums also doing it? I believe they are.
You think?
I would believe they are.
I
Somebody,
don't know
at
about
least
that.
out of all of the people, somebody out there doing it too with them.
If they know it.
If they know it. Like, you got to go to practice to know it, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, we reaching, but...
No, I'm
It could be a
actively
thing.
thinking of things.
It could be a thing.
And I lost my thought. Okay.
All right, we're going to dive into it. Let's get
the
it.
haka was a greeting, and so a challenge, often performed before a battle. Some people feel that the haka gives the All Blacks an unfair advantage. It's psychological.
In 1924, this All Blacks team won all 32 tests on an overseas tour, earning them the nickname the Invincibles. They raised New Zealand's expectations for the All Blacks from simply winning to dominating world rugby.
The superlative All Blacks rugby machine. They once more confirmed their absolute supremacy. World champion. The New Zealand war machine all set to join the other nations who've fallen before the invincible All Blacks.
According to data gathered by ESPN, between 1900 and 1989, the All Blacks won 71% of their tests. In 1987, they won the first ever Rugby World Cup. Then from 1990 to 2009, the All Blacks achieved a staggering 80% win rate. When they did lose, they always turned things around by developing new strategies.
You know, we're not the biggest people in the world. The South Africans produce these giants. England, very sort of gym-trained muscularity about them. But what we do have is a combination of athleticism, skill, but also be willing to try something just a little bit out of the ordinary.
More than 100 years after starting playing rugby, this small country of a few million people was still producing the best rugby players in the world, year after year. So how does New Zealand do it? To make this video, we needed to do a...
Listen, New Zealand has been having this same reputation from the time they started. Now, we've done quite a few rugby videos, but we're still new to rugby.
100%. Yeah.
I'm scared.
You gotta understand, this is our first time getting this type of information sent over to us about how rugby has developed and who was really dominating this field of work. And New Zealand was A+ with it, bro. Like, yeah, I would have been on the edge of my seat knowing that we got to play against who next?
I love that they mentioned the other teams in there, like South Africa, because
they're huge.
We love New Zealand and we love South Africa when it comes to rugby. So I love that they mentioned that.
Skills.
Alice Soper is a rugby player and journalist.
You can be 6, so like 5 or 6, and they play something called Ripper Rugby, which is like a primer to the tackle where they have flags on their shorts.
Ripper Rugby teaches kids how to run, pass, and catch, and it's how New Zealand maximizes the number of people who try rugby, thereby maximizing the pool of talent, entering a pipeline that feeds the All Blacks. By the time kids turn 13, they're playing tackle rugby and join club and school teams. Many high schools, called colleges in New Zealand, field multiple teams, again, to keep as many playing as possible. But the best boys play on their school's top team, where the best of the best are increasingly identified as potential future All Blacks.
You could almost liken it to college sport in the United States.
You're watching Land Rover Fest 15 Rugby, where we show you the stars of tomorrow today.
Then after graduating, the best are hired by teams to play in New Zealand's professional rugby league, Super Rugby. Only professional players that play in New Zealand are eligible to reach the top level, the All Blacks. It's a way for the team to ensure that there is a constant stream of new players that learn the game the New Zealand way.
They have to be all things, so they've got to be able to kick, they've got to be able to run, they've got to be able to tackle.
There's an expectation that they will play rugby the way the New Zealand public expect to see them play, which is this rather flamboyant style.
Possibly the greatest generation of All Blacks ever played from about 2010 to 2016. Over that time span, they won 90% of their tests and never lost at home. Plus, they won 2 World Cup championships.
Never? Did he say never?
Baby, they got something to prove at
Did
home.
he say never?
They're going to make sure. Y'all know we good, but we're going to show y'all we really good on our home turf. You never want to lose on your home turf.
Oh, my goodness.
Dion over here thinking that he want to be selected as the next New Zealand rugby player.
I know it's never too late to play the game, the sport at all. I mean, I could definitely get involved. But nah, I'm not thinking that. I don't want to get involved like that. Like I said, nah, because you got to think about it. Like when we see our NFL teams playing home games, like everybody come out.
Yeah.
Everybody coming outside, especially if you win. I gotta say, especially if, because our games is doing what they want sometimes. But that's a moment, bro, to be had. Y'all win every single home game. That's cold. That's cold.
That's crazy.
At the same school.
Oh, yeah, and I just want to mention that I would play it, but at the same time, I'm more concerned about the workout of it. I like the adrenaline that they have when it comes to working out and the exercise and the being healthy side of that. I like that
Make
side
my
of
man dreams come true.
Oh, Lord.
Somebody know somebody, get in touch with me.
Oh, man.
For one of 5 Super Rugby teams.
Probably the most well-known would be Richie McCaw. He was your typical kind of like hard man, absolutely no fear going into the contact.
Daniel Carter, for example, he was like the Joe Montana of the All Blacks. He was a brilliant player, but he was a great strategist as well.
But while the top of the pipeline gets all the glory, New Zealand's real advantage over its much bigger rivals is at the bottom.
Other countries may have a similar kind of narrow trajectory through your schoolboys into your academies. They just don't have as many people bundling in at that beginning point.
It's quite a rugged sort of a game. That suited the early pioneers of New Zealand, and these days it provides opportunity now for young people coming out of perhaps some of the more difficult socio-economic areas of New Zealand.
So the All Blacks dominate rugby because New Zealand transformed it into a game for everyone. But whether or not their domination continues is up for debate.
Huge World Cup upset. These men are too good for the All Blacks.
In 2019, the All Blacks failed to make the World Cup finals. Then in 21 and 22, they lost a stretch of 6 out of 8 tests, which pushed them to an all-time low ranking of 5th in the world. It led some to speculate that the All Blacks were in decline, and question whether they could continue to dominate world rugby. Blame was placed on the COVID pandemic and the All Blacks coach Ian Foster. Most importantly though, the losses forced New Zealanders to reflect on how their country's relationship with rugby is changing. A 2018 report found that the number of high school boys playing rugby was falling, while other sports were on the rise.
New Zealand has had phenomenal success in sports like rowing, basketball, but they've taken away athletes who once upon a time would have been All Blacks.
Like a lot of kind of male prevalent sports, they then start to take on that identity of like real heavily masculine spaces, which isn't necessarily what people want to be around. So it's become out of step with younger New Zealanders.
And many worry that high school rugby is increasingly dominated by a few privileged schools that are making the game too professional at the expense of the rest. A 2013 investigation found that 5 schools in Auckland are estimated to have spent $400,000 on their rugby teams, while their competitors spent only $50,000. Over the next 5 years, the number of Auckland high school rugby teams fell from 225 to 181.
It's become very elitist, with the schools really focusing on the elite teams. What happens to all the players who aren't good enough to play for the first team?
Just a lot of pressure. We're 15, so we're starting to see people realise, oh, well, this isn't working out here. We need to be changing things.
The most immediate challenge keeping the All Blacks from total domination, though, is the rest of the world. The rivals are getting better, particularly France and Ireland. Additionally, professional rugby leagues in Europe and Asia are getting very popular, and they're attracting a lot of New Zealand's players, making them ineligible to play for the All Blacks.
And even the lure of that black jersey for some players.
Not the New Zealanders.
Switching sides?
Yeah, it wasn't coming out right.
Okay. Interesting. I would have never thought. That's another storyline to that, though. So you have to dive into that to see what's the reason for the transition. And
right, because
that's
okay, so I'm used to, you know, our football players, they may go here, there, but they're still in the States, so it's regional, you know.
But I would switch over and being drafted is because of most likely a check.
Yeah, there's only so many spots on the team, you know.
Yeah.
But y'all leaving y'all country.
Yeah, y'all sign contracts with another country and play with them, and y'all still know the hockey and all that stuff, but y'all can't do it no more because y'all with the other team. Sucks, bro.
Dion is territorial.
That sucks.
Okay. So
Simply isn't enough.
I wanted to ask a question. So, dang it, Dion, I forgot the question. Keep going. I'm going to think of it later.
It's going to come back to you.
When they think they can set themselves up for life.
In England, you've got a couple of Kiwis that are over there. If you look at the European team, same thing there. Japan, currently run by a New Zealander. We put our people everywhere, and then we're surprised when they start to know our tricks.
So while the loss of these players may hurt the All Blacks' ability to win tests, it does ensure that New Zealanders will continue to remain at the cutting edge of rugby well into the future. Now, even though the popularity of boys rugby may be falling in New Zealand, the popularity of women's rugby there is exploding, and the women's All Blacks team is number 2 in the world. Thanks again for watching episode 3. This was a fun one to do.
Did he say the women's are number 2 in the world?
The women. The girls say, baby, we got it. Don't worry about it.
Come on, man. Hey, that's crazy, though. He didn't. That was a fire part that they made, talking about that they knew all the tricks. That's messed up, bro.
The coaches are going there.
That's messed up.
I mean, well, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so to our New Zealand people who are in New Zealand and knows New Zealand's business, right?
Shout out.
So, do you all think that only focusing on the elite schools is the problem? Because maybe those people from the elite schools are the ones who's leaving.
Could be. Yes, sir. You got a point there.
Yeah, and do funding really have to have a play in it?
Because that's some expenses they putting on them kids, you know what I'm saying? It's just to have the greatest experience ever. Meanwhile, you have some that's just putting, hey, we're going to pay this amount, this is what we got. But y'all still got great players.
I can't even imagine those numbers on our football. Well, now, being where we live now, I can imagine those numbers. That amount of money going to the teams. Because, you know, where we're from, it wasn't really that much money. Of course, we love the football team, and everybody is going to support the football team. But
you see, over here, like here in America, like we could just go to different state to state if we want to switch the side. You know what I'm saying? And move your family over here to the snowy mountains, or you move your family here in the heat. You know what I'm saying? The beaches and everything. But you guys are jumping bodies of water to go to a whole nother country to play for that team. And I think that's like the disadvantage when you think about it, because I remember you mentioning about what if we had like that hole-in-one where we can just have that one support for a team here in America.
Yeah.
But imagine having to leave.
Right.
You have to go to a whole other country for that.
And there's only so many spots on the team.
Yeah, so that's not...
how long are the contracts?
Yeah,
you know, so, yeah. Let us know the inside scoop.
Got to.
All right. We hope you guys enjoyed this video with us. Be sure to subscribe. We'll see you soon.
Peace.